Today, I'm honored to have our guest who is a globally respected spiritual leader and a mind management expert, Swami Mukundananda ji. And I've had the privilege of speaking with him on the brand called You three times in the past few years. Swamiji is an alumnus of IIT Delhi and IIM Kolkata. He is the founder of JK Yoga and the pioneer of yoga for the mind, body, and soul. As a senior disciple of Jagat Guru Sri Kripaluji Maharaj Ji, he has touched millions of lives through his teachings, books, and life transformational programs. Swamiji's best selling works, including The Science of Mind Management, Seven Mindsets of Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment, combine ancient wisdom with practical insights. Today, we will be discussing his latest book titled Isha Vasyopanishad. His lectures, viewed over 500 million times on YouTube, are known for their clarity, humor, and relevance. He has spoken at top global companies like Google and Apple, premier institutions such as MIT and Stanford, and leading government bodies in India. Through JK Yoga, he champions spiritual upliftment, healthcare, education, and rural development. We are privileged and honored to welcome Swamiji to the brand called You. Swamiji, we're going to speak to you about the Ishavasya Upanishad. And therefore, my first question to you is what does the term
Well,
Ishavasya mean? And how does it encapsulate the entire message of the Upanishad?
first of all, Ashutosh Karchi, it's always a pleasure to be on your podcast. And yes, we've had three wonderful podcasts in the past.
Yes.
I love the fact that you actually assimilate the subject and then come out with such profound and meaningful questions. And I'm looking forward to today's discussion as well.
Thank you, sir.
So, Ishavasya Upanishad, the commentary on it is my latest, as you mentioned. The word Ishavasya comes from the first word of the first mantra of the Upanishad.
Mhm.
Ishavasyamidam sarvam yat kincha jagatyan jagattena tyaktena bhunjitha magritah kasya svidhanam.
Mm.
So the word Isha means of God.
Mm.
Vasya means pervading. It is literally the
Mhm.
Upanishad of the all pervading God. And
Mm.
true to that meaning, the topic of this Upanishad is God. The world has emanated from God, the world is pervaded by God. What is the nature of that supreme divine reality? Is he formless? Does he have a form? What
Mhm.
is our relationship with him? How should we lead our life aligned to his will and instructions? What are the consequences of not leading our life correctly? What are the
Mm.
gains of fulfilling the purpose of life? And ultimately, so astonishingly, the
Mm.
Upanishad, which begins from ground level, takes us on the highest flights of devotion.
Mm.
So, in one sense, this Upanishad encompasses the entire gamut of Vedic philosophy.
Mm.
And interestingly, it loves to present contradictory views and
Mhm.
reconcile them. So
Mm.
it reconciles material science with spiritual science, worship of the formless with the personal form, renunciation with living the world, and
Mm.
so on. It
Mm.
is the foundational Upanishad in the entire stack.
Mm.
Further, it's got a synthesis of the three kands of the Vedas:
Mhm.
karma, jnana, and bhakti. And the
Mm.
reason for that is its position as the 40th chapter of the Kanva Shakha of the Shukla Yajurveda. So the
Mm.
previous 39 chapters deal with Karma Kand and Gyan, and the subsequent deals with the Upasana Kand. So because of its position, it synthesizes all three perspectives so
Mm.
beautifully.
Very, very interesting. Swamiji, the Ishwasya Upanishad begins with a profound inquiry: who is the real owner of the world? Could you educate us on this very central question and its relevance in today's material world?
Yes, it opens with a bang and it questions the basic paradigm of our life.
Mm,
I am the owner of what I have, and it's meant for my enjoyment.
mm,
So the Ishavasya Upanishad says, remember, God is pervading all of creation.
mm,
You know, we Hindus, we intuitively say Bhagwan is Ghat Ghat Vasi. He
mm,
resides in every aspect of creation. Sab Ghat Mera Saiya, Khali Ghat Nahi Koi.
mm,
Balihari va Ghat ki ja Ghat par Ghat hoye. So,
beautiful.
the Ishavasya Upanishad reminds us of that. That if God is everywhere, then you are not the enjoyer of the things that you possess.
Mm,
Belong to Him and they
mm,
are for His pleasure. So
mm,
it gives us a very foundational instruction of spirituality.
mm,
Renounce the desire to enjoy.
mm,
You know, Mahatma Gandhi, he put
mm.
it like this. He said, renounce and enjoy.
Right,
You're trying to enjoy and
mm,
experience misery
right,
because the enjoyment is in the incorrect direction. And
right.
instead, if we can make a little course correction, I am not the enjoyer of material energy. The Lord is the enjoyer.
Mm,
And then replace that mindset with the service mindset.
mm,
I will serve Him with what I have. Then the
mm,
inner bliss gets experienced from inside.
mm,
Now, the characteristic of modern times is greed. No matter what we have, it is not enough.
mm.
And when it is not enough, then we are not happy.
Right.
The instance is given of Joseph Heller, the
Mm.
writer of Catch 22.
Catch 22. Yeah.
He was taken to a billionaire's party in New York,
Mm,
where there were many opulent people of New York society.
mm,
And his friend said, do you know that these people make more in a day than you made all your life through that best selling book of yours? And Joseph Heller said, yes. But I have got one thing which
mm,
these people don't have.
mm,
What is that? I have got enough. And
mm.
they have enough. They don't
Right.
have enough power, they don't have enough prestige, they don't have enough wealth. So the hankering is going on.
Incredible.
Now, Bhartri Hariji says, Satu bhavati daridri yasya trishna vishala. The person who is one who is poor, whose yearnings are many. Manasi
Mm,
tushte korthavan ko daritraha. One who
mm,
has learned contentment is
mm,
no longer poor. So the Upanishad is asking us to renounce the sense of possessorship
mhm,
and enjoyership and
mm.
replace it with an attitude of service to the Supreme.
Amazing. Amazing. What you just told me, it's so powerful. I have enough. Just these three words. If we can accept and internalize it, I think that's the end of our or most of our problems.
Very correct.
But Swamiji, how does the Upanishad define the relationship between the self, which is the Atman, and the supreme reality, which is the Brahman?
Yes, it explains that the Atman has emanated from the Brahman.
Mm,
So the Supreme Atman is the source of the individual Atman.
mm,
Now the Supreme is perfect and complete.
mm,
And anything that emanates from the perfect is also perfect. So when
mm,
we look at ourselves, we don't feel that we are perfect.
mm,
They say, what perfection is this mantra relating to? Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamudachyate.
mm,
We are not
mm.
perfect.
Yeah.
Well, from his perspective, we are perfect. It's like a mother has a 4 month old fetus in her womb. Now
Mm,
we say that this is all ugly flesh,
mm,
and the
mm,
mother says, my baby is perfect in her fourth month. I have
mm,
got confidence that by the ninth month she will then be complete baby and come out.
mm.
Likewise, the Supreme has got faith in his creation and his
Correct.
ability to bring all the souls to perfection.
Mm, mm,
But the Isha Upanishad reminds us
mm,
that he possesses innumerable attributes.
mm,
He is Sarva Shaktiman, Sarva Drishta, Sarva Antaryami, Sarva Loka Maheshwar. On the other side, we are tiny, infinitesimal. So
mm,
he is the Niyamak, the creator of the rules. We are subject to the rules. He is all pervading. We are pervading only one body. He is
mm,
all knowing. We are in need of knowledge. And
mm,
that is why the Upanishad has prayers where the soul realizes its inability to attain the goal and then
mm,
prays to the Supreme to help it reach that level of divine love.
mm,
So it's a very beautiful devotional relationship that the Upanishad expresses,
mm,
and it also then goes on to give the concept of dual non dualism, which means that all souls are in the Supreme, and the
mm,
Supreme is in all the souls. And it
mm.
says, when you realize that, your whole perspective to creation will change. You will see that one in all, and all in one.
How beautiful. How beautiful. Thank you, Samaji. Samaji, the first verse speaks of renunciation and non attachment. And even the Gita talks about this. How can this be practiced meaningfully by people like us who are living a modern and very busy life?
This, Ashutoshji, is a perpetual question in the minds of spiritual practitioners in our Indian tradition.
Mm,
On the one hand, we are always given the ideal of the renunciant. On the
correct.
other hand, you are living
Mm,
in the world, and the question arises that how can you balance these things and aspire for renunciation while staying where you are? Well, the key is in this analogy
mm,
of a boat that is in the water.
mm,
The water is not in the boat.
mm,
If the water gets into the boat, then the boat will drown.
mm,
So, likewise, we can very well live in the world,
mm.
but we should not let the world live in us.
Correct.
So, we have to take all the attachments out of us.
Mm,
And when we talk about detachment, the word for it is vairagya.
mhm,
There are two kinds of vairagya.
mm,
One is Phalgu Vairagya and the other is Yukta Vairagya.
mm,
What is the difference?
mm,
Phalgu Vairagya is where you experience the world as miserable.
mm,
Oh my God, household life is such a pain. And then you run away to the forest.
mm,
Now you think I am renounced. But that renunciation is from the miseries of the world.
mm.
And when you experience miseries in the forest, then people want to run away from their renounced life as well.
Correct.
So it is this person is seeming renounced, but is not
Mm,
actually. This
mm,
the Phalgu River in Gaya.
mhm,
And there doesn't seem to be any water, but if you dig 3 inches deep, there is a stream there.
mm,
And Yukta Vairagya is a different kind of detachment
mm,
where you see the material energy as belonging to God.
mm,
So that is why you don't feel the need to run away from it.
mm,
It's like if there is money, well, money in itself is not bad. Money
mm,
is the Shakti of God, is a manifestation of Lakshmi. It should
mm,
be used in the service of Narayan. Now we wanted to enjoy it and we experienced misery. That doesn't
mm,
make money bad. It makes shows us the need to change our mindset. So a
mm,
person who's understood real Vairagya
mm,
says, whatever I have, I will use this in the service of the Supreme. I
mm,
don't need to run away from the world.
mm,
I have to take the world out of myself.
mm,
So the test of our detachment is very well in the world itself.
mm,
One sadhu practiced austerities in a cave in the Himalayas. And when the Kumbh Mela took place in Haridwar, he descended for the sacred bath. And in the huge crowd that had gathered, one businessman from Delhi had also come. Now, absent mindedly, that businessman's heel of the shoe fell on the sadhu's foot and his
mm,
nail got dislodged. So the sadhu became furious. Are you blind? Can you not see?
mm,
Then he said, oh my God, what did I do?
mm,
12 years of sadhana, it
mm,
all disappeared in one fit of anger. The
mm.
sadhana was done in the cave, but its test happened in the world.
How
So that
wonderful.
is why the world in itself is not bad. It is
Mm,
perfectly designed
mm.
for the elevation of the soul.
How wonderful. How wonderful. But Swamiji, while I understand Vairagya or detachment, how does one reconcile action, which is karma, with detachment? And can one truly do that without expecting results?
That's right. So the Ishavasya Upanishad,
Hmm.
it is urging us to perform actions. The second
Correct.
mantra says, Kurvanne veha karmani jijiveshe chatadvam sama. It
Hmm.
says, oh human beings, do actions.
Hmm.
And there is no other means for you to
Hmm.
attain the supreme apart from doing your actions, because
Hmm.
that is your intrinsic fundamental nature.
Hmm.
You see, in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjun wanted to do inaction.
Hmm.
This is seeming burdensome to me. Let me run away. Sri
Hmm.
Krishna says, Arjun, by nature, you are a warrior, you're an administrator. You
Hmm.
cannot artificially be a sannyasi. You
Hmm.
go into the forest, you'll gather the tribals there, and then you'll
Hmm.
become the king of the tribals.
Hmm.
So, better keep doing your actions, but change the mindset behind it.
Hmm.
Earlier, you were thinking, I need to fight because I have to be king.
Hmm.
Now, replace it. Let me do my duty for the
Hmm.
pleasure and for the glory of God.
Hmm.
So, when we replace the idea, I am the enjoyer, with the idea that this is for the pleasure of God, then we focus on our efforts. That's
Hmm.
all.
Hmm.
The results are not for my sake.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
no matter what the result,
Hmm.
disturbed. And we can do our actions even better than before.
Hmm.
It's like, a surgeon is needs to have complete detachment in
Hmm.
doing a good procedure. And no surgeon will do a procedure on their own child. They
Yes.
say, look, the attachment will interfere with my competence. They'll ask
Hmm.
a friend to come and do the procedure. So, detachment enables us to do our works even better. And
Hmm.
interestingly, in the 1924 Olympics in Paris,
Hmm.
Manu Bhaker, who won two medals, first Indian lady to win two medals.
Hmm.
And when she was asked, about her mindset. It's like, what was her thinking process? She said, from childhood, my mother taught me the Bhagavad Gita, Karmanye Madhikarasti Ma Phaleshu Kadachana.
Mm.
Do your duty without attachment to the results. And that
Mm.
is what enabled me to remain calm and equipoised. So that
Mm.
is, we have so many examples of such. Now, this is also called karma yoga,
Mm.
or it is another name for it is karma.
Mhm.
And Indian history is full of karma yogis,
Mm.
people who were kings like Chana, Dhruv, Prahlad.
Mm.
Now, as a king, as an administrator, they had to do Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhed. To be a effective king, they had
Mm.
to do all the various aspects of
Correct.
administration, and yet
Correct.
inside they were
Mm.
calm and peaceful.
Mm.
So that is the way to perform your actions.
Mm.
Externally, you are working, internally, you are in yoga. So while working, there is no anger, greed, desire in the mind. The mind is filled with thoughts of love, devotion,
Mm.
inspiration, aspiration. If we can do both together, that is the
Mm.
karma yoga, that is the karma, that is what the Ishavasya Upanishad is teaching us.
Wow. Thank you, Swamiji. Swamiji, the Upanishad also speaks of, and I quote, those who worship ignorance enter darkness, but those who worship knowledge alone enter even deeper darkness. How should we interpret this paradox?
And this is the Upanishad chooses to present things
Mm.
in such a shocking way that a
Mm.
person is forced to pay attention.
Mm.
So rather than presenting a thing, the point mildly, it says, look, if you worship ignorance, you'll enter darkness. If you worship knowledge, you'll enter deeper darkness. What it's trying to tell us is
Mm.
it's not just ignorance, it's
Mm.
talking about avidya and
Mm.
vidya.
Ah.
So yeah, so it says that andham tama pravishanti ye avidyam upasate tato bhuya ivate tamo yau vidyaya gwamrata. By
Mm.
avidya, it's referring to material science. And
Mm.
by vidya, it is referring to spiritual science.
I see.
So it says,
Mm.
look, if you only pursue material knowledge,
Mm.
you will enter darkness. You will not have the means to control your mind, to purify your inside, and all the other benefits that spirituality bestows.
Right.
But on the other hand, if you become a fanatic spiritualist, then also you will enter darkness.
Mm.
Some people, in the name of spirituality, they start ignoring their body. They
Mm.
say the world has no relevance to me.
Mm.
So the Upanishad does not accept that viewpoint. It
Mm.
says you are the soul, but the body is your vehicle.
Mm.
For a successful journey, you will have to take care of your vehicle as well.
Mm.
And for that, you will need material science.
Mm.
So the idea is not to contradict both of them, spiritual science and material science, but to reconcile and utilize both of them.
Mm.
Interestingly, uh, the Buddha, he talks about the middle path.
Mhm.
So the Buddha came 5,000 years after the Isha Upanishad, 2,500 years after the Isha Upanishad, right?
Mm.
And a
Mm.
contemporary of the Buddha was Aristotle in
Correct.
Greece. And in his book, Nicomachean Ethics, he talks about the golden mean, that austerities are good, but not extreme austerities.
Mm.
And the Buddha also talks about the middle path.
Mm.
But Sri Krishna in the Gita says, Natyashnatastu yogosti. Look, Arjun, if you stop eating, you cannot be a successful yogi. If you
Mm.
eat too much, you cannot attain success in yoga. You have
Mm.
to eat correctly, you have to calibrate your sleeping, your recreation, your work, and everything. So the
Mm.
idea is that external nature must be honored and respected.
Mm.
Take care of the body, utilize material science. And
Mm.
to purify your inside, utilize spiritual science.
Amazing. Thank you so much. My next question is, how can one balance the manifest form and the unmanifest, which is formless, aspects of the divine as recommended in the Upanishad?
Ashutoshi, this is a wonderful reconciliation of the apparent contradictory perspectives where one says the ultimate reality is formless and the other says the ultimate reality has a form. Well, the Upanishad says the ultimate reality is both. It is
Mm.
formless and having a form.
Mm.
But it is a question of the realizing the same thing in
Mm.
different ways.
Mm.
Like, for example, H2O.
Mm.
You could see it as steam, and then the properties change as water, and again they change as ice.
Mm.
They are not three different entities,
Mm.
but three manifestations of the same one entity.
Mm.
Likewise, our Indian philosophy says, Vadanti tat tattvavidastattvam yajnanamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdayate. The
Mm.
knowers of the truth have said that there is one Pararpar Tattva, but it manifests as
Mm.
Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So
Mm.
Brahman is his all pervading aspect. Paramatma is his aspect residing in our hearts as the
Mm.
Paramatma,
Mm.
indwelling Supreme Soul. And
Mm. Mm.
Bhagavan is when he descends as an avatar.
Mm.
But they are the three manifestations of the one Supreme Divinity.
Mm.
Now, the thing is that the devotee wants rasa, the
Mm.
bliss of bhakti. That
Correct.
bliss comes from the personal form.
Mm.
That is why worshippers of the formless, like Shukadev, his mind was immersed in the formless. But when he came in touch with the sweetness of Sri Krishna, he
Mm.
got naturally drawn to bhakti.
Mm.
Likewise, King Janak, he had
Mm.
attained Brahmanand, the bliss of the formless aspect, which is
Mm.
infinite in extent. And then
Mm.
he had darshan of Sri Ram.
Mm.
Murati Madhura Manohara Vekhi Bhaya Videha Videha Viseshi. So he got so attached and just kept looking at Ram. And then he says, Oh my God, what is happening to me? I'm
Mm.
completely detached from the world.
Mm.
Why am I getting attached to this prince? So he thinks that is it that my Ishtadev, the formless Brahman, has taken a form and come here? And that is exactly it. The formless and the personal form are two manifestations of the one entity.
Amazing. Thank you, Swamiji. In what ways can the Ishwasya Upanishad help us cope with grief, loss, or the fear of death?
With grief, loss, and fear of death, yes, the Ishavasya Upanishad goes to the root of grief,
Hmm.
and it says it stems from moh
Hmm.
or ignorance.
Hmm.
So, what is moh? Moh comes from the root mu, which means mudhan, the dullness of the intellect.
Hmm.
Basically, it refers to our intrinsic ignorance.
Hmm.
That this is the ignorance of the material covering. If we have
Hmm.
forgotten who we are, we're seeing ourselves as the body, we are assuming the temporary things of the world are permanent. We are thinking we'll get happiness from material things. So this
mm,
ignorance has enveloped us.
mm,
And that ignorance is the reason for our grief.
mm,
Like, for example, Arjun was grieving in the Gita.
mm.
And
Yes.
Sri Krishna says, look, Arjun,
Mm,
you are thinking you're speaking words of knowledge. But
mm,
if you were truly in knowledge, you would have no grief. A real Pandit is free from grief.
mm,
So he goes on to remove the ignorance in Arjun.
mm,
And then at the end of it, finally at the end of the Gita, he says, Arjun, has your ignorance gone?
mm,
Arjun says, Nashto mohaha. Oh,
mm,
Sri Krishna, my
mm,
ignorance is dispelled. And it goes without saying that when
mm.
ignorance is gone, then grief, lamentation, they will automatically disappear.
Right.
Let me illustrate this through an example.
Ji.
One jeweler, he was on his deathbed, and his
Mm,
son was only 7 years old. So the jeweler had seen poor times, and he left a jewel case full of precious stones for his son. My
mm,
child, you can sometimes sell this and take care of the family. Now, the jeweler's wife, she took that case to her dead husband's friend, and
mm,
said, see, my husband has passed away. He's left this. Can you please purchase this from us and we'll take care
mm,
of ourselves from the sales? He looked at it and he said, don't you worry. You keep this for now and
mm,
just take a monthly subsidy from me. Let your child grow up, then we'll look into this.
mm,
The years went by. The child
mm,
also learned the trade. And finally, the child said, okay, now I'd like to sell this. So he took it to the jeweler. The jeweler
mm,
opened the case and he
mm,
showed the child. And the child realized that they were just broken pieces of glass. They were not
mm,
actually diamonds.
mm,
He
mm,
immediately became detached from them.
mm,
Likewise, in life as well, we are grieving for something and we are feeling a certain loss. And the removal of more makes us realize they were all broken pieces of glass. What am I lamenting for? That
mm,
is why our scriptures say that the root malady of humankind is avidya or
mm,
ignorance.
mm, mm.
So if
Amazing.
that ignorance is removed, all
Mm,
lamentation, grief will disappear.
amazing. Amazing. Swamiji, there's also a metaphor of the golden vessel covering the truth. Can you please explain to us this metaphor and how do we remove this veil from our lives?
Yes, it's a the metaphor is used in the Upanishad so interestingly.
Mm,
It says, Hiranmayena patrena satyasyapi hitam mukham tatvam pushana pavrinu satya dharmaya drishtaye.
mm,
Supposing in a golden vessel, some items are placed, little ones.
mm, mm,
The vessel is so resplendent, you're not able to see the items
mm,
because of the sparkle of the vessel.
mm,
So the devotee is saying in the 15th mantra, my Lord, the effulgence of your face is preventing me from seeing the beauty of your personal form.
mm, mm,
So please remove this veil that has covered your sweet personality
mm.
and let me have darshan of your personal form.
How beautiful. Mm,
So, even in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjun said to Sri Krishna, I wish to see your cosmic form.
mm,
And Sri Krishna showed him the Virat
mm,
Swarup. And Arjun became scared.
mm,
Danshtra karalani chate mukhani drishtva kalana sandibhani. He says, my
mm,
mouth is drowning, is drying up, and my knees are shaking, etc. Oh, Sri Krishna, please hide this. and show me your
Mm,
two-armed form. So
mm,
the devotee knows very well that
mm,
God is also the all pervading light. The devotee knows very well that this is also a manifestation of my Lord. But in
mm,
love, he wants to relate to and interact with that personality of the Lord. This
mm,
is a yearning for the devotional rasa. That is why
mm,
in the next mantra, the devotee repeats the prayer and he
mm,
is calling God Pusha.
mm.
Tattvam Pushana Pavrinu. So, Pusha means bestower of ras. In
Right.
this case, O Lord, who nourishes the devotees with the rasa of bhakti. Please
Mm,
reveal your personal form to me and nourish the bhakti within me.
mm. Amazing. Swamiji, the Upanishad then ends with a prayer to Agni. What does this signify in the journey of our soul?
Yeah, so this word Agni that comes is interpreted by Bhashyakars in different ways. Some have taken it to mean Agni Devta, the
Mm,
god of fire.
right.
However, that is not the intent of the Upanishadic mantra
Mm,
because all through it is a prayer, it's a description of the Supreme Divine Personality.
mm, mm,
So, in the Vedas, God is also referred to as Agni.
mm,
Brahma hi Agni.
mm,
Now, Agni can take on different forms.
mm,
One is the physical fire, one is Jnana Agni, the
mm,
fire of knowledge. The fire of knowledge will burn away your karmas.
mm,
And one is the devotional fire that develops in the devotee's heart. This is the Premagni.
mm,
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he refers to it.
mm,
Yugaitam Nimeshena, he says, O Sri Krishna, when will that fire of longing burn in me so strongly that every moment in waiting for you becomes an age long? So
mm,
that is the Premagni. The one who induces that Agni is the Lord, Agni Dev, Bhagavan himself. So
mm,
endowed with that fire in the heart, the devotee is saying that now, my Lord, my longing for you has reached a climax, and
mm,
you please consummate it. So, in that fire, may my body
mm,
burn to ashes and may I be liberated from this material frame and
mm.
attain your divine abode.
Oh, beautiful. Swamiji, verses 17 and 18, which I think the last two verses, speak about death and remembrance. What wisdom do these two verses hold for us?
That's right. 17 and 18 are directly talking about death. The only thing that is definite in life is death.
Mm,
That is why it is said as sure as death. Somebody remarked that this life is veritably dead end.
mm,
There's a story of Dhruv. Dhruv attained God realization, Narayan gave him darshan, and then he became king. And when his time was over, so he was to depart now to Dhruv Lok that had been created for him. So
mm,
before he was to leave, one old lady came and said, "You need to accept me."
mm,
And Dhruv said, "That who are you?" She said, "I'm Mrityu, or I'm death." Now
mm,
look, you have come to Mrityu Lok. This is the abode of death. Nobody can leave from here without
mm,
accepting me. So Dhruv
mm,
said, "Come here." He placed his head on her and then he left. So
mm,
everybody will die. The point
mm,
is, what perspective do we keep towards it? Now, one is to realize the nature of life as temporary. and use death to create detachment in us.
Mm.
That is the learning that Siddhartha, the
Mm.
Buddha, took when,
Yeah.
as a prince, he saw an old man, a sick man, and a dead man. He said, "This is the nature of life.
Mm.
Okay, I am detached."
Mm.
And the Gita also says, Janma, Mrityu, Jaravyadhi, Dukkha, Dosha, Anudarshanam, Arjun. Contemplate the defects of life. This is a place of death, and you'll
Mm.
be able to free your mind from it. But then there's an even higher perspective. In Kabirji, he alludes to it when he
Mm.
says, Sab jagad daryo maranate. The whole world is scared of death. Mero maran anand. I am looking forward to death. Kab mariye, kab bhetiye puran paramanand. When will I die and I meet my supreme, all blissful creator? So likewise, in this, the last two mantras, the devotee's yearning for the Lord has now become so intense that he says, My Lord, you now destroy all my karmas and any kind of rubbish that is in my head,
Mm.
and let my body come to an end so that I come to your divine abode
Mm.
and then attain your eternal seva.
Mm.
So we should take this lesson that rather than fearing death, we should prepare for it. That
Mm.
will be the final exam.
Mm.
And the Gita says, what you remember at the time of death is what
Mm.
you will achieve in your next life.
Yes.
But the next verse says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha. Arjun, that is why practice remembering me always. If we can
Mm.
remember our death, then we will say, okay, I must now prepare for it by remembering the Lord always. So
Mm.
that at the time of death, I will not forget him.
Mm. So, two more questions for you. How can young people engage with the Ishwasya Upanishad meaningfully today?
Young people need to bring more perspective in their life. Sometimes it's so easy to be caught up in the humdrum, mundane struggles around that we miss out the bigger picture. The Ishavasya Upanishad should help us ponder on the purpose of life itself. Why am I here? What is my ultimate goal? And what is the purpose of the universe? That will give us a sense of direction in our life.
Mm.
Besides that, the young people can use the Ishavasya Upanishad to subdue the senses, because
Mm.
in youth the senses are very unruly. They
Mm.
need to be beaten, they need to be controlled so that you can do meaningful and purposeful things. And
Mm.
the Ishavasya Upanishad says, look, if you make bhog pravritti as your goal, then look at the consequences that await you. But beyond that, the Ishavasya Upanishad should be used to understand that things are not good or bad in themselves.
Mm.
It is the way we use them. A
Mm.
knife is neither good nor bad. In the
Mm.
hands of a surgeon, it saves lives. In the hands of a dacoit, it takes lives.
Mm.
Likewise, technology is neither good nor bad.
Mm.
we if we can purify our intention, we can put all things for our benefit and the benefit of others.
Mm.
And finally, one lesson I'd like the youngsters to take from it is of Satya Dharma,
Mm.
which is a term referred to in the mantras. Satya Dharma Yadrishtase. What is Satya Dharma? Your highest duty. And that is love for God. So
Mm.
the youngster should hold that with one hand and do their karmas with the other. Once a rabbit asked the sunflower, it said, "Look, I am so impressed by you. Birds came and pecked at you, insects came and bit you,
Mm.
and you stood up to the vagaries of the weather. How did you manage to do it all successfully?" The sunflower said, "I focused on one thing, my beloved the sun. I just threw myself in its direction and
Mm.
chose to love it and focus on it all day long. And
Mm.
that is the secret of my success." So if you
Mm.
can keep your eyes on love for God, everything else will fall in place.
Amazing. And my last question, Swamiji, if there is one verse from the Ishavasya Upanishad you would recommend every one person memorizes and reflect on daily, which would it be and why?
Ashutosh ji, I would point to the Shanti part of the Isha
Mm.
Upanishad.
Mm.
Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate. Because
Yes. Mm.
this mantra is packed with wisdom.
Correct.
We people are
Mm.
so besieged by doubt, negativity,
Mm.
anxiety,
Mm.
finding that my circumstances are not okay. I've got so many problems. So, negative thinking is besieging us. And the mantra says, no, the world is perfect.
Mm.
Don't find fault with the world.
Mm.
If you are experiencing misery, the reason is inside of you.
Mm.
Try to find the root cause of your misery within yourself,
Mm.
and then you will change your perspective to the world.
Mm.
So then, even in adversity, you will see the blessings of God. If you hard times befall you, you will say, okay, creation is teaching me austerity. Creation is forcing me to become better. And
Mm.
that perspective of seeing grace and gratitude and in every situation, utilizing everything for learning is the
Mm.
sign of inner awakening.
Mm.
So if somebody can memorize this, truly believe in it,
Mm.
they can never ever do negative thinking in their life again. In every situation, they'll see
Mm.
the grace of God and they'll
Mm.
always be positive, optimistic, growing, loving, and serving.
Swamiji, on that note, the only thing I can do is bow my head in front of you and say, so much knowledge, so much to learn. Every time I have the privilege and opportunity to speak to you, I come away enriched. And all my viewers and listeners also just wait for another episode with you because there's so much depth in everything that you teach us. Thank you so much again, Swamiji.
Thank you so much for your kind words, Ashutosh ji. Always a pleasure to be speaking to you. So happy to be on your
Thank you.
podcast once again.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste. Thank you for listening to the brand called You Videocast and Podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the brand called You.